Yeah, I get right to the racks. Then I make that shit back. Run up on me, get shot in the back.
Hey, James, even a beautiful video discussion on there. We're gonna live. We got the Los Angeles Barrio Wars 90s. This is the title of it, but I'm sure it's probably deeper than that. This is the same guy who covered the Chucky midgets and stuff.
And the 90s was a crazy time, you know. Great. It was the golden era of hip hop, but it was also not the golden era, I want to say, but
of drug dealing.
Of drug dealing, crack epidemic. Well, the middle, kind of like the back end of the crack epidemic, but also like a lot of gang banging, a lot of tag wars, a lot of chaos, a lot of gun violence, a lot of nonsense, a lot of unnecessary stuff, But if it's your first time tuning into this channel, subscribe to the channel, request the content, and we react. This channel's super nice, super dope. We cover a lot of content from all over the world. Don't mind the random music in the background. This is Jaren. Follow him on Instagram, Jaren TV. I'm Pop Reacts. He's 12 years old, y'all. I'm 67. I had him when I was 50 something.
That's all right too.
Got me a little shower.
Quick maths.
Come on, do the math.
Then we're talking.
This score below.
Let's get it.
President Bush this past week made the startling but painfully true observation that an American soldier on duty in the Persian Gulf may have been safer there than on the streets of his hometown.
Wow.
The president might have added, especially if his hometown is Los Angeles.
Tom Brokaw.
In Operation Desert Storm, fewer than 200 Americans died. In the streets of Los Angeles last year, 690 died in gang wars. There are some 100,000 gang members, homeboys they call themselves, in 850 Los Angeles gangs. And in those wars, there's no ceasefire.
Yeah. You guys say homeboy?
Every day, life in the lottery. Going to jail, getting shot, getting stabbed.
3 shots for attack 342.
It is kind of a serious game.
Darkness descends on Los Angeles, and the gangs and their guns hit the streets again. Shot in the leg, a gang member runs for his life.
Oh! Yo, he run it down, too.
Gang members scatter. Another skirmish and the bloody war is over. No one was killed this time, but not for lack of trying.
I'm gonna record that shit.
For the past few years, politicians, cops, and gang workers have focused on warring black gangs. But this winter, the deadliest wars are among Hispanic gangs.
Homeboy? What do they call you?
Danny Boy.
Actually, this is where the Los Angeles gangs began, dating back to the Zoot Suit Wars of the 1940s.
We should cover the Zoot Suit Wars.
Oh, wow, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that's when the Mexicans had to fight against like the Navy guys and all that used to bully them.
It's so interesting because who was putting in more pain back then? We know about the Bloods and Crips in the 90s. Like, that's like the biggest thing ever, right, in LA. But, like, were Mexicans putting in more pain than the blacks?
I believe so because it predated them.
Predated meaning?
They're older.
Elaborate. Okay.
They're older.
Okay.
They're older than the African-American gangs.
Good point.
Now, there are 50 gangs in 7 square miles of East Los Angeles. In 1990, they accounted for 33 murders. This is Lopez Street in East Los Angeles. It's the heart of Lopez Maravilla, a gang that dates back to the 1940s. Generations of young men from this neighborhood following their fathers, even their grandfathers, into the gang.
I grew up on these streets.
You grew up in the gangs on these streets,
So what
right?
was that?
Yeah, I got into the gang when I was about 11 years old.
Crazy handlebar.
Tintin is now 32, a veteran of prison and heroin addiction.
Somebody else is going to get hit.
He followed his parents, his uncles, and his cousins in the gang.
Hey, what's up, man?
And earned a reputation as a pistolero, a shooter.
The revolution's over.
Pistolera!
Pistolero.
He followed his parents, his uncles, and his cousins in the
Hey,
gang.
what's up, man?
And earned a reputation as a pistolero, a shooter.
The revolution's over.
Now, Tintin works for the State Gang Violence Reduction Project, trying to stop the killing.
Yeah, he was running
As a veterano or veteran, he can make the
Just say it
Lopez
in English,
homeboys
man.
listen.
When is it going to stop?
As a veterano,
How many more
veteran.
boys are going to have to die? How many more kids are going to have to get shot? They look at themselves as soldiers of their communities, their neighborhoods. They're like the policemen of their neighborhoods. You know, that's why most Hispanic gangs, I mean, their wars are territorial-wise. A lot of times, you know, gang members will deal drugs in order to raise enough money to buy guns.
How old are the kids who are doing the shooting these days?
They start from about
13.
11 to...
11?
Yeah, they start pretty young.
The ties that bind the homeboys are very strong. What do you need that they can give you?
What do you need? What do you need that they can give you?
You know, they love me because I'm one of the homeboys, and I do too.
You like having older brothers?
Yeah.
Like a family? Like a father?
They're my family.
Yeah? You have a father at home?
Big brother.
What happened here? That's
Yo.
not appendicitis.
Oh, no, it's a bullet wound. Got shot.
You must have almost died.
Yeah.
Taking care of business. Retaliation. That's the name of this deadly game. 14-year-old Marcos was the 11th victim of Lopez's war with a rival gang. Marcos was only in Lopez a month when a rival gang roared by, guns blazing. Another drive-by killing.
14.
Sheriff's Department, open the door, we have a warrant!
Days later, a pre-dawn raid. The L.A. County Sheriff's Gang Unit arrests a 17-year-old for the murder.
Turn this way.
The boy's mother simply would...
You know, when you raise your son, you know, you don't expect him to go kill somebody, right? But, like, this is so sad on both sides. You,
Yeah.
14-year-old dies, 17-year-old goes to jail for a long time. He gets institutionalized. He goes into the system. These are two guys, or two young men, or two kids, or two little boys that probably could have been doctors, lawyers.
Or just a UPS manager.
UPS guy would have making a lot of money. Like,
Yeah, like.
wow, this is crazy. Los Angeles,
Could not believe that he was in a gang, despite
both sides of it.
plenty of evidence. Joker was fingered by a Lopez homeboy who witnessed the shooting. But Joker was released when the Lopez gang member recanted his story. He had broken the code of the street. Don't get the police involved. Take care of it yourself.
Well, they figure they have a better chance of getting at that guy with him out on the streets than in jail, you know, because they know he's going to get, life. If he gets life, they don't want that. They want him dead.
That's what the payback is. Take one of us, we're going to take 3 of you.
Boo Boo's mother, fearing for his life, moved her boys out of the neighborhood. But the lure of the gang life was so strong, Boo Boo came back to visit, and he got shot.
Yo!
They just came up this right here when I was walking into the yard, and they just opened up. There's no other way to put it. They just drove up like this, slowed down a little, and pa, 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 pa.
Boo Boo's life still revolves around the neighborhood, but he has forbidden his brothers from joining. They, in turn, are afraid for him.
I always worry when it comes to it because he get shot again. And he
Grown
could
man right
Yeah.
die.
I don't like to think about dying, but I love the neighborhood, so I'm going to stick by it.
For gang members, that's it. The neighborhood and homeboys and a twisted sense of pride that triggers violence and death.
They buried the other homeboy today, the other guy.
The day before that youngster got cueteated and got killed, that's when they hit that water in the hole.
Yeah, the day before.
Gun is in rear waistband.
Sergeant Joe Guzman, born and raised on these streets, has worked gangs for 12 years.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's literally out of hand.
Why has it become so violent again?
Well, number one, because there's a lot more gangs than there were in the recent past.
Does that have a lot to do with illegal immigration?
Yeah, in the last 10 years, we've seen an influx of immigrants from Central and South America into the United States, and particularly in Southern California. And that becomes a perfect...
Is that related to immigrants? Should we get them out of here? That's what he's thinking, right?
Immigrants have always been an issue in this country, and right now Donald Trump is in there. We're in 2024, 2025, and Trump is his first week. This is his first week, and he's going after the immigrants. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
recruiting group for a lot of the traditional gangs.
The gangs and their recruits have turned all of East Los Angeles into a war zone.
Let me see your hands.
The fighting spills from the streets into the stores. A gang shooting played out on a surveillance camera at a liquor store.
Oh, wow.
The target gang
sucks
member
if
was
you're the
hit
guy
in the
right
side,
there.
but he didn't.
You're like,
just wanted to
bro.
buy a bag of potato chips and soda, and some killer comes and starts shooting at somebody, and he's right next to you. I'm the killer. He's like, bah, bah, bah.
You're just like,
And you're like, do I run? Do I
Yeah,
grab
exactly.
him? Do I just stand
you
here?
don't want to run.
But do I grab him?
First shot I'm running though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm out. When he lets off that first shot, I'm out.
As soon as he pull out, as soon as he start going like that, I'm gone.
Yeah.
The gang shooting played out on a surveillance camera at a liquor store.
You should have curved right there. Pew.
The target gang member was hit in the side, but he didn't even go to the hospital.
Get down on the ground. Be like this.
Shots fired. Deputies involved in the shooting. They're exchanging gunfire with the suspects.
Can pursuit of the vehicle?
Holy Toledo.
That's stressful. 90s, LA, cop. You see a lot of bodies.
Deputies surprised gang members in the middle of a drive-by shooting. A running gun battle followed. The deputies after the gang members.
They're shooting each other. Boom, 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 boom. Back to back. Boom.
And then another. And Father Greg Boyle would mourn.
In my 5 years here, I've buried 14 kids, and 10 just in 1990, and 3 just in this past week.
Father Boyle, with all the violence that comes with being a member of a gang, why do the youngsters in these neighborhoods continue to join up?
Tom Brokaw in the streets.
Part of the issue here is the gang activity and gang membership is such a thoroughly complex thing, you know. There's sort
These
of
guys are both dead, right?
a lot of root
they're like in their
problems.
50s and 60s in the 90s. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, this is like pretty interesting that this is going on in the 90s.
You didn't answer my question.
Poverty and
do
dysfunctional
you think these guys are dead and gone? Because they were like already in their 50s and the 90s.
Tom Brokaw is still alive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Greg, if you're not locked up for,
Oh, shit.
he's probably still around somewhere.
Yeah.
Families and joblessness and failure of schools and despair, boredom.
People live a long time,
As long
bro.
as those conditions out of which grow.
But nigga, 91 was
30 years ago.
30 years ago.
We're always
in their
going to
80s.
have kids joining up gangs.
Father Greg is a priest of the streets in the community surrounding Dolores Mission, a community that includes 11 different gangs.
Good essay.
When gangs claim a victim, Father Greg is often the first one called, even before police.
Oh, wow.
When you talk to them about the futility of retaliation, do they hear that at all?
No.
The other night, I heard gunshots. I went out on my bike. I went over to where I thought the gunshots were coming from, and sure enough, there was a whole crowd of kids from one
I
neighborhood.
went over to the gunshots where they're coming from because I want to get shot also.
He's like from Seattle. He's from Tacoma.
Yeah.
Tacoma, Washington.
Some liberal place.
Neighborhood. And they had been fired upon by a car, and they were preparing themselves to retaliate. They were all packing. They all had guns.
Right.
I went up to one kid and I said, you know, you don't want to do this. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was, you know, why not? You know, I have nothing to live for. I mean, hundreds of kids have told me that before. That, for me, is the hardest obstacle in all this. I mean, you can open a school, you can find a job, but to kind of redirect kids, give them hope, fill them with hope is the tallest order there is.
Yeah.
But if you get shot,
She died.
You get shot and die, you're too bad.
but you're 14 years old, your whole life is ahead of you.
That's sad.
14 years old and ready to die. When we come back...
14 years old. That's sad.
That's crazy, yo.
That, like, it's normal. That's not normal, chat. Is JTV? Alright. Peace.
And I know how it gets, so I gotta stay low now, move my knot. I don't trust no nigga, I don't trust no man, ain't no friends, everybody get shot. You never know how nigga gon' throw, I'm hitting the flow with a couple of shots. You better move, you better duck, either way to go, you'll get got.